Hello everyone, welcome to Learn English with Dr. DK. So I hope many of you are going to join this session today. As you know, I will be live and I'm doing these sessions every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, hello everyone, and Friday. Welcome to Learn English with Dr. DK. So I would love to see many students in this class. So let's see. I'm waiting for you to join the class. And if you are here, you can say hi. As you can see on the screen, we are talking about family. So as you know, families are, sorry, early morning. So families, you call it family or relatives, and families are very important in everyone's life. So families, if you can see, I just put a quote. Families are like branches on a tree. We grow in different directions, yet our roots remain as one. So that's what the families are, right? अब अगर आप देखो roots जो हैं वो हमारे grandparents, right? Grandparents, grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents, like that. Jinko you can say grandparents, right? Dadaji, and then great-grandfather, for example, Pardadaji, great-great. तो आप जितना great लगाते जाओ तो उतना ही वो उनके जो status है वो बढ़ता है, branches, right? Generations change होती हैं जिनको कह लो आप, क्योंकि generation है जैसे हमारे पेरेंट्स हैं तो वो एक जनरेशन है, आगे हम हैं तो हमारी दूसरी जनरेशन आगे और children's gonna be their third generation, right? So इस तरह से जो generations चलती हैं. So families are very important in every country, I will say, because even if I am living here in America, I know families are very important in American culture also. So yes, it's a different story that here in America, children become independent soon, right? When they are 18 years old, then the parents don't have many rights on their children. Hi, Kiran, Shamaz, Manju, Meena, Asad Jaman. Good to see you, everyone. If you are here, say hi. And so we're going to start the lesson. So many of you know the simple relations, like if someone is your mother or father or brother or sister. So, but we're going to talk in detail, and then this lesson is actually not going to cover in 1 or 2 classes. We will be learning a lot about families, okay? So after that, you will not have any confusion about the relations, and you can easily discuss your families in English with anyone. Okay, so let's start the lesson, please. So I am going to share so while I'm sharing this, let's talk about, like, we have immediate families, right? Where immediate families are like your parents or your brothers and sisters, right? Or your uncles or your aunts. They're very, very close to you, right? But then we have extended families where your father's brother's children, right? Something like that. It's like जैसे relations जो हैं वो extended होते, extend का क्या मतलब है? फैलना, right? तो same thing is in relationships also, कि जिस तरह से वो relations आगे branches, in other words, जैसे अभी मैंने example दी आपको tree की, तो branches जैसे बढ़ती जाती हैं तो वो distance उनका जो है वो बढ़ता जाता है, right? Like that. So in this one, we're gonna talk about As I mentioned earlier, generations. Generations mean all the people in one stage of the family. So as I mentioned again earlier, your parents are one generation, you and your siblings. Ab siblings kya hai? Brothers and sisters. They are the next generation. And then your children and their cousins are another generation, right? So wo generation change hoti. So let's talk about कि आप जो हमारे फर्स्ट जो रिलेशन है हमारा सबसे क्लोज रिलेशन, व्हाट डू यू थिंक द क्लोजेस्ट रिलेशन इन आवर फैमिलीज? If you know, just write in the comment section. What do you think? The closest relation in your life, किसके साथ है हमारा? Definitely parent, right? So parent, my family, or relatives. Parent. Now, what's the relationship? I am the child of my parents, right? And I usually call him, as you know, we talk about a male, and her is when we are talking about female. So I don't know how many of you call your father just father, or you call papa, or dad, or daddy, or pitaji, papaji, बाबा, अब्बाजान और अबूजान. बहुत सारे तरीके हैं जिनसे लाइक जिस नाम से आप बुलाते हो, राइट? किस तरह से आप उनको एड्रेस करते हो. इन अदर वर्ड्स, एड्रेस करना मीन्स बुलाना. किस तरह से बुलाते हो आप उनको? तो टेल मी how you call them. Like you say papa or papaji or baba, or is there anything else? I remember my mother used to call my nanaji chachaji. Why? Because they all were living in a joint family, and my mom's cousins, they were calling them chachaji. So my mom and my uncle and my aunts, means like my masis and mamas, they all used to call my nanaji chachaji, and we also call him chachaji. And I know one of my cousin, they also had a joint family, and their uncles, like their chachas, they used to call their father Paji, and their children were calling them Paji too. So I mean, yes, Paji, in other words, in Punjabi is to call to brother, right? To brother ko kehte hain Paji, but they used to call their father Paji. So in sometime in families, it's a different way to address, right? So tell me how you call your father or your mother. Is that something from my list or something different? Or mother, or mataji, or mummy, or mom, or ammi. Or if you are from northern side, like Punjab side, then they call biji also. Biji, beji, beji, bebe. So there are so many ways to call. So that it's like I'm a child of my parent. So let me see on, okay. Yeah, parents, you call parents. Okay, hello Jitendra. So tell me, what do you say to your parent? Like you say to your father, Papaji or Daddy, or how you address them? Is there something different from my list, or you address them with the name something from my list? How you usually call them? Okay, so let's move on to the next one. And the next one is, what do you think the next relationship? Siblings, right? Definitely, because after parents, our brothers and sisters are our closest relations. So now here, my family or relatives, my siblings, if they are male, they're brothers, right? Brother, if it's one brother, as you know, singular noun. And if you have more than one brother, brothers, right? If you have one sister, or if you have more than one, sisters. So you just add S at the end to make it plural. And I hope you all know, okay, singular. It's very simple. Singular means one, and plural means more than one. So it could be 2, 3, 4, you can name it like 10. I don't know how many, but, and then sometime you call them, you know, just usually call them with their names, or bhai or bhaiya. In northern India, in Punjab side, we call virji, bro, bhai jaan bhi कहते हैं, right? तो अब सिस्टर को सेम दीदी, सिस्टर, नॉर्दर्न इंडिया में कहते हैं बहन, बहन जी, पंजाबी च बोलो तो बहन जी, या अगर हिंदी में बोलो तो बहन जी, राइट? इस तरह से एड्रेस करते हैं. तो these are our very very close relations, right? So I hope these are very simple actually, right? Okay, now our next one, and then we're gonna talk about a lot because we discuss our relatives all the time. It's gonna be very interesting topics. So just stay tuned. We're not gonna finish it today, but hopefully this week we will cover the family. Okay, so now our grandparents. So our grandparents, grandfather, grandpa, dadaji. Dadaji, you call it if it's your father's father, right? And you call Nana if your Nanaji is your mother's side, right? You all know this, right? कई लोग नानू कहते हैं, नाना पापा कहते हैं. So I know my nephews, they used to call my father like their grandfather, papi, and papi actually is in what you say, Spanish culture, like in Central America. When I'm saying it's all Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua. In this part of America का जो बिल्कुल लोअर पार्ट आ जाता है, उसको सेंट्रल अमेरिका कहते हैं. वहां पे जो स्पेनिश हैं वो पापी कहते हैं अपने फादर को, पापी. यस. और मासी को कहते हैं तिया, एंड दादी को कहते हैं अबुएला, राइट? सो देखो हर एक के अपने लैंग्वेज में भी है कि क्या बोलते हैं. तो अगर आप कुछ डिफरेंट बोलते हो इस लिस्ट में तो जस्ट लेट मी नो, लेट मी चेक. Because when I am on this screen, I can't see your messages. So I have to go back and look at it. Okay. So, bhai, right. Dadi, right. Dadi, yes. Yeah, so, सियालकोट पाकिस्तान. ओके किरण. सो पाकिस्तान में देखो, हाँ पाकिस्तान में आप जैसे अम्मी कहते हो आप, राइट? अम्मी, अबू जान, अम्मी जान. आप फिर कहते हो, आप कहते हो बाबा भी कहते हो, बाबा बहुत कहते हो आप, राइट? तो और क्या कहते हो आप? कई लोग तो अगर वेस्टर्न तरीके से एड्रेस करते हो तो सेम थिंग लाइक डैड और पापा और mama, or right? So it all depends on how you address in the family. So next relations, what do you think are the relations after this could be? It's like we already covered parents, we already covered brothers and sisters. Now we talked about grandparents, and the next one is going to be, what do you think? Let's guess. Okay, so the next is, okay, the next one. So we covered the grand. So uncle and aunts, right? Now uncle and aunts. So siblings of my parents. It's both sides, right? Siblings, both sides. If it's from your father's side, you call it bua. If it's your father's sister, your bua, or your buaji, bhuji, or kya kehte ho? So if you are from Pakistan, tell me, because I know आप एक तो आपा कहते हो, आपा I think आपा sister को कहते हो. बताओ मुझे, थोड़े से relations मुझे पता हैं. आपा है, और क्या है? I'm thinking. So अब जैसे चाचा कहते हैं, ताया जी. अगर if your father's elder brother, right? Elder means जो बड़े हैं आपके फादर के, तो आप उनको ताया जी कहते हो, या ताऊ जी भी कहते हैं. तो अगर brother, if it's your father's what you say younger brother, तो चाचा कहते हो, चाचा जी कहते हो, अंकल भी कहते हो. अरे अंकल तो actually in India you call everyone uncle. All your neighbors are uncles, right? Whosoever you see uncle, even if you met someone on a street and you need to talk to that person, you say uncle ji or uncle, right? So uncle is very common in Indian culture. That's what I know. But in America, no one say, if you are not related with that person, related in the sense with blood relation, if you don't have that relation, if the person is not your mother's brother or your father's brother, then no one's gonna call you aunt or uncle. Yes, in Indian, like Indian means like we here in India, in America, our family, our friends children, they call us aunt, auntie or uncle because we still have roots in India, right? तो culture है हमारे में थोड़ा. Otherwise, our neighbors children or anyone we meet and they know us, they just call us with their name, our name, right? So like my neighbor's children, they just call me with my first name, my short name, and then my husband's name. Everyone, they just call, even the little children like 2 years old is going to call you with your name. So it's auntie or uncle. They don't say it because you are not related. You're not their relatives, right? You're just neighbors, or they just know you like that. Maybe you have a very good relations, like my neighbors, they all are Americans and they're just like our families because we are here from so many years living together. Our children grew up together, but still we are not relatives. So their children and my children, they just call them with their names. So that's the culture also. But in India, yes, and I think same thing is in Pakistan. We address them with auntie or uncle or api or any other relations, right? So if it's your mother's side, then masi, mama ji, right? Or kya mamu bhi kehte hain, right? So tell me if there is any different name, so I might gonna add it in my list because right now I don't know many. Okay. Funny. So South India, I call my uncle mama. No, uncle mama is if your uncle is your mother's brother, right? Then definitely you will call him mama, right? Mama ji. Like in Northern India, especially in our family, we don't just say auntie or like a mama or masi. We add G with it for respect. Masi ji, mama ji, mami ji. Mami ji is my mama ji's wife, right? So we call mama ji to my mother's brother. They all are my mama ji's. I had 4 mama ji's. Now I have 3 mama ji's because one of my mama ji passed away. So and Masi ji. So that way we call. Yes, uncle bhi bolte hain. Usually, actually, right? Yeah, it depends on it's little. See, in every family, it's very interesting. Like for example, my mom's real sisters, right? Real sisters, like from same parents, right? We call them, we used to call, now I don't have Master G's, they all passed away, but we used to call them Master G, their husbands, Master G, and my Masis, right, Masi G's. But my mom's cousin sisters, right, we used to call them, yes, Masi, we still call them, they are here, well, Masi G's, but their husbands, we used to call them Uncle G's. They were a distance, like, you know, a distance mein relations aa jate hain, jisme aapko, in other words, you can say extended families, right? So they are my mom's cousins, and their husbands. We call them Uncle G's. We don't call them Master G's. In every culture or in every family, I will say even it's different. Right? Even my cousins, for example, my Masi's children, they call my Mama G's Mama or Mommy, but we don't say that. We say Mama G and Mommy G. And sometimes my Mama G say that, look at these children, they call us G and you just say Mama or Mommy, you don't use G. So it depends, like, because my mom or my father, they always taught us that you have to add G also because they are your, respectable, they are like your parents. So in every family, it's different, right? Okay. So now let's move on to the next one. And then we're going to talk about their character traits also, because we discuss families all day long, right? Okay, guys, so I have 9 minutes and let's see how much we will cover today. So let's move on to the next one. So we covered now definitely whatever you are thinking is, what do you think is the next relation we're going to talk about? Our cousins, right? And cousins are very simple. Children of my uncle or aunt. अब इसमें क्या है? Masi's children, Mama's children, Chacha's children, Tayaji's children, Bua's children, right? समझ गए? They all are cousins, right? They all are cousins. So they are actually your first cousins, right? First cousins mean they are the closest one. So Masi's, Mamas, Bhuas, Chachas, Tayas. These 5 relations, their children are your first cousins, right? क्योंकि वो बिल्कुल बड़े close के रिश्ते जिसको कह लो, after your brothers and sisters, they are the closest one to you, right? Cousins आ गए. Okay. Then उसमें एक और cousins आ जाते हैं, वो they are your like second cousin. We sometimes say second cousin. Second cousins में जैसे कि वो जैसे like your father and your your grandfather and your grandfather's brother, they are living together and you have like a big giant family, right? My father's side used to have that kind of family. I'm not talking right now, I'm talking about this something in 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s, I think, yes, till 80s, they all were living all were together, all the property was joint, farming land was joint, everything was joint, right? So we had a big, huge house and we all were, not me because my father was in army, so we were not living in the same family, but whenever we used to go there. So my grandfather and my grandfather's brother, so they all were living together and their families were living together. But their children are now our first cousins, right? They are our cousin because they are my father's cousin brother is my cousin Chachaji, right? My father's, of course, we call them Chachajis, but because their fathers were not same, right? Fathers were different. So their children are our second cousins. I hope you understand. Yes, its branches are very complicated. Right? If you see the branches, जैसे branches हैं, तो the relations जो हैं वो extended होते जाते हैं, right? But it also depends on, we never realized that they were not until like we grew up, and then when we were mature enough to understand the relations, then we knew that our bhuas are not a real bhuas, because my dad didn't have any like sisters, but he had cousins and they all were living together, they grew up together, so it was like they were our bhuas and we treated them like same way. But otherwise अगर blood relations से देखो तो their father was different, their mother was different, right? Because they were my father's chachaji's children, but living in the same family, so you don't even differentiate sometimes the relations, right? Okay, so let's see the comments right now. As you know, I Okay. Okay. So, okay. So let's talk about, so guys, we talk about relatives all the time. So before I move on to the next one, think about how many brothers and sisters do you have? So I'm going to stop here and we're going to discuss other relations because there are so many relations we need to talk about. जिससे कि आपको कोई relative रह नहीं जाएगा. When you want to discuss your relatives in English, you will have a lot of vocabulary and a lot of character traits you can talk about because that's what we do. So how many brothers and sisters do you have in your family? Okay, anyone wants to tell me? Anyone wants to tell me your brothers and sisters? Or how many cousins do you have? So some, because now I know in many families, sometimes children, they don't even have, they might be the only child, right? Only child. One is child is a singular, right? And if we talk about more than one, then it's not child's, because it's the when we say plural noun, it's children. So how many cousins? So in some families in these days, people just have a one child. They don't have, so their children, they don't have any brother or sister, right? Because people say, oh, it's so expensive to have kids, right? Because you have to provide them good education, you have to provide them good life, and it's very expensive, right? So people might just have one child, right? So then you might have cousins, right? So how many cousins, how many cousin sisters, or how many cousin brothers do you have? Anyone? Anyone wants to talk about it? Or if you are married, how many children do you have? So if you are married, how many children do you have? Or do you live in like a joint family, or any kind of answer? Parents, dadi, bhai, male is mama ji. Yes, mama ji. Right. Okay. So then we have nephews. So let's see, one more we can discuss, one more relations we can discuss. And then is spouse. So your husband, or if you are a male, and your wife is your spouse, right? Relative to whom I am married, right? So for example, I'm a female and my husband is my spouse, and my husband is a male and I'm his wife, so I am his spouse. So spouse is the same word we use when we talk about to someone, my spouse, or even when you fill a form somewhere, sometime in many applications, there is a column where you write down your spouse name, or, so spouse is your life partner. In other words, you say life partner also, right? So that is the specific name is a spouse. And you usually call, now in every relations it's different. If it's a wife, in many cultures, wives, they don't call their husbands with their name, right? They just say sometime G, or I don't know, or they just don't say anything, but just call them with respect. आप करके बात करते हैं, आप और इस तरह से. But in modern days, people use the names also, but in some cultures, people still don't, right? So they call them, they address them differently. So if you are married, tell me how you call, maybe if you are a male, I am sure you call your wife with you usually call her with her name, right? Or maybe you gave her some kind of a name, right? Sometimes people give the name to their spouses, right? They have their own personal names, or they have, or the wives call them sometimes like Janu, or there are so many names, right? So that's the way the relation. So relative to whom I am married, and relationship. So husband and wife. Okay? So I hope you are enjoying this lesson and you are learning some new relations. If you are not, yes, these are the very closest relations, but in tomorrow's lesson, we will be covering more. And then after that, we're gonna discuss a lot about this week. Hopefully, maybe in next 2 lessons, we might gonna cover up everything. But by doing this, you are getting exposed to, first of all, a lot of vocabulary, and then how to talk about your relatives. When you talk to someone about your relatives, oh, you know what, one of my cousin, and she is like this, and then you talk about their character traits, you talk about so many things about them, or maybe you talk about if they are getting married or you are planning to go there. So there are so many ways, right? So this is a part of your social language, right? Social language. Now, there is a difference between social language and academic language. So the one we are practicing here right now, it's social language because we live in society and this is a part of life, right? So I hope you enjoyed this lesson. And again, if you are interested to join my Saturday's live Zoom class, where I invite you in my class. So like the same way here we are, but you will be in my class and you will be talking to me, right? So you're going to join my Zoom class, but that is only Saturday. And that class is 8:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. अब जब PM में कहती हूँ तो that means कि रात का टाइम है, right? अगर AM कहूंगी तो वो डे टाइम का टाइम है, जो रात के 12 बजे के बाद से लेके दोपहर के 12 बजे तक होता है. मैं हिंदी में बता दूं आपको तो, बट उस टाइम पे नहीं है ये क्लास. ये रात के 8:30 बजे क्लास होती है सैटरडे को, एवरी सैटरडे. और इसमें बिल्कुल ओपन इनविटेशन है. Only condition is that you need to WhatsApp me. Now my WhatsApp number is everywhere in my descriptions and pretty much in all my new videos जितनी भी आ रही हैं अब उनमें जो first comment है comment section में, if you can look at it, तो the top comment section में my phone number is there. Now when I had +1, because it's America's number, तो +1 doesn't mean that you're gonna add plus sign. Plus sign आपने add नहीं करना, आपने 1 लगाना है उसमें. 1703 ऐसे ही नंबर है. अब आगे मुझे, मैं गलत नंबर नहीं बोलूंगी आपको, मुझे याद नहीं इस तरह, बट आप मेरे कांटेक्ट में देख सकते हैं वहां पे. तो नंबर 1 जब आपने इंटरनेशनल नंबर ऐड करना है व्हाट्सएप में, तो यू नीड टू ऐड 1, नॉट प्लस. उसमें प्लस साइन है. प्लस मीन्स कि आपको ये नंबर ऐड करना है उसमें. So I hope you understand. And then if you are interested to join my class, please don't be scared. As I always say, I am not judging your English at all. I'm just providing you a one opportunity, and it's unlimited. First of all, you can join my class as many times you want to. You can join my class, be a part of the class where we read stories, we read articles, we discuss, we talk. And then if you have, for last few minutes, I give you some time. If you have any questions, you are free to ask me questions too. And if I have the answers, I will give you the answers right away. If I don't have the answer right away, then I will say, okay, I'm going to bring this answer for you, right? Because as you know, I always say, I'm a learner like you are. I don't know everything. And if someone is saying that that person knows everything, that's not true. It's a lie. Because we all are learners. We might be on different stages, right? So मेरी learning या आपकी learning में difference हो सकता है, but we all are learning on different levels. So I hope to see more students tomorrow. And if you are going to help me, or if you want to help me, please share this video with your family and friends, whosoever is interested to learn English. Have a wonderful day and stay blessed.